Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
Surprise! You're listening to Raising Howl. My name's Jeremy Harper. You know what? I was going to have my brother on, Rex Steele. We're going to talk a little bit about. I was going to invite him to talk a little bit about A-State sports, how we've changed over the years. You know, he and I went to school together back in the 90s. And he's not available. You know what? It's Valentine's Day, and he's having a beer with his wife. Yeah. Couldn't be on the pod. He's living his life. Not me. Not me. I am living my life for you. Hope you appreciate that. So it's just going to be me. We're just going to talk a little bit about Arkansas State basketball. We're going to talk a little bit about basketball. Maybe a little bit about baseball. I don't know. Baseball starts today. Got the new facilities, the new field, got new coach, a lot of new players. I think we have like 2 starters coming back. Everybody else is brand new. Red Wolves picked to finish dead last in Sun Belt baseball, and for good reason, right? We'll talk a little bit about them in a minute. I don't have too much to say. I haven't really looked into A-State baseball. I've got my reasons. I'll discuss that a little bit later. Right now, I just want to talk about the Red Wolves. They've come home, right? For the big home stand, 4 games. Finished the season out with 2 games against pretty much the lowest rated Sun Belt teams, the Cajuns and the Warhawks. So, wow. That really sets up. You know, as hard as the schedule was in the conference at the beginning of the season, it does us a real big favor at the end of the season. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting in 2025. How do I know that? It's my most trusted betting platform. Whether you're a seasoned fan like myself or a first-time bettor, BetOnline is your ultimate game day companion. With the largest selection of odds on everything from NBA and college basketball to the NHL and UFC, BetOnline continues to be your number one sports betting source. From every three-pointer to hat trick, BetOnline has you covered with odds, stats, and more for every game, every play, and every win. BetOnline, the game starts here. Red Wolves sitting on a net rating of 88. Probably not going to get much lower. Likely not to get any worse. You know, that 88 ranking. You know, I'm not a expert on these type of things. I'm not like a bracketologist. But it's been my opinion that if you want a chance at an at-large bid in the field of 68 or 72 or however many it is now, God, I don't know. If you want that at-large bid, you at the very least, got to be in the 40s, and probably that's not good enough. It's probably not good enough in the 40s. If you're Arkansas, our friends to the west, that might work because, you're in the SEC, but it's not going to work for us. If we were 42, that Arkansas is ranked 42 right now. If we were 42, we'd probably still be outside looking. That's how it works. Now, for us, if it were based on net ranking alone, we'd probably have to be somewhere in the 30s, right? No, you might say, no, Jeremy, you're absolutely wrong. You don't know. I don't know. I'm just kind of guessing. I haven't looked at the history. But it's been my experience that you sort of have to be in the 40s, and maybe you should be in the 30s to get that large bid. We're not getting an at-large bid. We got to win the Sun Belt tournament, right? All right. Let's not worry about that, though. You and me, let's not worry about the Sun Belt tournament. Because let's face it, the Sun Belt tournament is cursed for Arkansas State. Red Wolves, they returned home on Wednesday after that 4-game series. They end up at Akron. They lost to Marshall. They came home to completely destroy Southern Miss. I mean, just utter destruction. And, Southern Miss, they have players. Curbelo. They have Denijay Harris. He spent a year at Arkansas, by the way. Spent like 4 years at Southern Miss. Went to Arkansas, came back to Southern Miss, and really has become one of the best Sun Belt players. He's a walking double-double. He's a big guy on the inside. I think he leads the conference in rebounds. He'll get you 12 points, 18 points, however many points you need. Denijay Harris, he's legit. Those guys turn over the ball too much. I think Red Wolves made them cough it up 17 times, something like that. And what was funny, too, is that, I'd written a preview of the next upcoming games against Southern Miss and Troy. And, I was looking at the Southern Miss team, and they're not one of the 9-4 teams, not one of the second-place teams that are competing for that big super bye for the tournament. They're just not there. And I couldn't figure out why. They've got good players. They've got what they need. They've got a great home court advantage. And I thought maybe it was depth. Maybe it's depth. When we played them, they just wore out. When we played them on the road, they wore out. They hung with Arkansas State for a half, and then the second half collapsed. And I'd seen them play other teams beforehand, and they just looked exhausted. I thought, well, maybe it's just they just don't have enough people. You can only ride Denijay Harris and Curbelo and their other guy, whose name I suddenly forget, Alvarez, I think. You can only ride those 3 guys for so long. And somebody wrote back to me and said, no, it's not. The Southern Miss, the problem isn't depth. It's turnovers. And sure enough, Arkansas State forced 17 turnovers from Southern Miss. And it resulted in a lot of fast break dunks, right? I think Arkansas State ended up recording 7 official slam dunks. It's remarkable to me, the difference between the home Red Wolves and the road Red Wolves. On the road, the basketball just can look like hard work. Man, you saw it against Marshall. It looked like hard work. Rashad Marshall's in the paint. He's getting all beat up. You got Zay Nelson collecting over-the-back fouls. Seems to take a long time for Taryn Todd to find the rim. And Darren Ford, he just kind of vanishes. He's Mr. 3 at home. He can take over at home. What happens to him on the road? The only guy who seems to like playing on the road is Joe Pinion. He loves it. He loves silencing the crowd with a 3. Pinion, by the way, he was only 2 for 12 on Wednesday. He made 2 3-pointers. And 2 for 12, I mean by 2 for 12 3-pointers. But Pinion isn't just a 3-point guy. He can make up for the cold streak. He's one of these guys that if his 3-point isn't working, okay, he's going to get you a block. He's going to get you a rebound. He's going to get you a layup. Yeah, that's what I like about Pinion. Pinion's not just the outside guy. If he wants to, he can go inside and get you the layup. He can get you the rebound. At home, the Red Wolves are just a different team. They seem to really enjoy the moment. The only time I can think of when A-State was at home and they didn't enjoy the moment was when they struggled against Jackson State. Yeah, there wasn't much of a crowd. And nobody wants to play Jackson State. Who wants to play Jackson State? Who wants to play the SWAC? Nobody wants to play the SWAC. You toss out Jackson State, and every home game has this sort of exhibition feel, right? Zay is going to get a couple alley-oops. Darian Ford is suddenly going to get you multiple three-pointers. Pinion's going to block a shot beyond the three-point arc. Kobe Julian, he's just going to do whatever he wants. Man, you might see St. Clair come out. You might see the Prince of Paragould, Zane Butler come out. See the Johnson brothers come out. It's just fun. And, it took us a while. It took us a while to appreciate that. But you know what I think is the reason why Arkansas State is playing so well at home? I think it has something to do with us. Yeah, you and me. We're filling effing Bank Arena. We're filling it up. No, not to the top. I don't know what fills First National Bank Arena to the top. It's a barn. It's built for pre-ESPN era, right? It's made for tractor pulls and country music concerts. That's what effing Bank Arena is for. It's not really even for basketball. I don't know. Somebody might disagree with me, saying, "Oh, it's a basketball first." I get it. It's multi-purpose. It was built at a time when multi-purpose was, a good thing, right? It's for volleyball. It's for basketball. It's for when some country guy comes into town and wants to fill up a little stadium. Sure. It's not easy to fill up, but let me tell you, if you put 5,000 people in there, it feels full. I watched that Southern Miss game from my couch. I didn't drive up to Jonesboro on a Wednesday. I live in Little Rock. It's a long drive. It's a long drive there. It's a long drive home. I've made that trip a lot. I make that trip a lot. Football, now basketball. I'm going to miss a few. Instead, I listened to my man CJ Pepper break down the hoops. I even texted CJ. CJ and I know each other. I said, CJ, it's good to hear your voice again. Calling the shots. He said, I hope we win. I said, why is that? He goes, I want to get back to the NCAA tournament. He was on that team, the 1999 team. We haven't been back. So screw me, I wasn't there. More than 5,000 of you were. Let me tell you something. A-State crowd, you're the sixth guy. 5,000 plus night after night. Yeah, I can feel a certain fan base smirking about that. You know who that fan base is. But $5,000 in Jonesboro is seismic. It's a lot of people in Jonesboro. And yeah, I think we talked about it earlier, what kind of crowd Arkansas State is. We're a wait-and-see crowd, right? What have you done for me lately crowd? That's what we are. I get it. I embrace it. We're not going to make a fool of ourselves with some sort of goofy call.
If you're a facilities manager at a university, you know students rely on the cafeteria for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and the occasional late-night snack. So when a dishwasher breaks down and dirty plates pile up, the mess hall can turn messy in the blink of an eye. Enter Grainger. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast delivery, the product you need now is never far away. So you can turn that dishwasher back into a lean, clean washing machine. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
We're certainly not going to get too inebriated to understand what's happening, right? No, we're just a blue-collar crowd that wants to see good basketball. And Brian Hodgson, he and his guys, they kind of know what the fans want. They want threes from the logo, and they want alley-oops. They want to see guys diving for loose balls. I tell you what, I'd rather see Rashad Marshall throw those elbows and get a 3 anytime. I love that. Give it to me. Oh, yeah, and the other thing that we want are wins. Wins are good. Yeah, I used to work with U.S. Soccer. That was one of my clients. Yeah, the soccer team that plays in the Olympics. The U.S. men's national team. That was a client of mine. I wrote creative for them. And they were constantly coming up to me and they were saying, hey, how can we get more people to watch the men's game? You know, they're going to be in Chicago. They're going to be in Miami. They're going to be in Houston. Why can't we get more people to watch this team, they'd say. I'd say it. I'd say we don't win. Winning, that's the cure. That's the marketing cure. There is no better way to sell a team than to win. I mean, you can have bobbleheads, you can have t-shirt night, you can have a band playing. It doesn't matter. Fans don't care about that. They only care about winning. That's it. Everything else we don't care about. It doesn't matter if you're Arkansas State Red Wolves basketball or the U.S. men's soccer team, or look at the St. Louis Cardinals baseball team. St. Louis Cardinals, they draw in millions of fans every year, usually one of the top-selling programs a year. This year it's going to be a disaster because the team is not winning. It doesn't even seem to care that the front office doesn't seem to care. They might care. They might not be sleeping well, but they don't seem to care. They're just like, hey, come out and watch this mediocre product. And it's your fault if we're not doing well. Yeah, Brian Hodgson understands one thing. One, they want to see, we want to see alley-oops and three-pointers. Got the three-point balloon back, about time. Invested the $90 it takes to fill it up with helium. And we got the wins. We're on the cusp of a 20-win season, a legit 20-win season. 20 wins over Division I opponents. We're almost there. And the fans like it. I think the players like that the fans like it. You know, you go to Southern Miss, for instance. Or you know what? You go to that Marshall game. Yeah, you know what? I watched... No. Let's even go back to the Marshall game. Let's go to the game against Kent State. Yeah. I was watching their next game, the Golden Flash's next game. They're playing, some MAC team. Just was curious. They were still talking about that game with Arkansas State. They were jazzed. It's like, man, we really energized our fans with that game. Yeah. Arkansas State is jazzing up a fan base outside of Arkansas State. That's the effect. That's the Brian Hodgson effect. It's not just Brian Hodgson. It's the players themselves. Yeah, you get Pinion, he hits a three, he sticks out that tongue, he looks like he just took your lunch money. He has that look on his face. You pull Zay out of the game, Isaiah Nelson, you pull him out of the game, he's high-fiving everybody on the bench, he's throwing a few people in the stands a few high fives. Even Dominguez. Seems like a stoic guy. He can throw some emotion that revs up the crowd. You throw in the mayor and the Prince of Paragould, some local boys. I don't know. You got like a winning formula there. Arkansas State Athletics is calling for a blackout on Saturday night. Saturday night, Arkansas State plays Troy. It's like 7 p.m. on ESPN2. That's why, make sure you iron your cummerbund. Make sure you polish your cufflinks. We got to look nice for national TV. Everybody's supposed to wear black, which is nice because that's slimming. I'll take black. I'll probably wear black. Frank the Tank is coming back. I don't really know who Frank the Tank is. He's sort of an internet personality. He's lost a lot of weight. He does some walking. Either loves the Jets or the Giants. I always forget who. He likes to yell. He can barely understand them. People like him. He was there last year. He's going to be here this year. I interviewed him last year. I still don't know who he is. But he's coming back. Maybe he'll fire a few T-shirts into the crowd from the Higginbottom Dental Cannon. Cannon is a menace. Red Wolves play Troy. They're 9-4 in conference, just like everybody else in the Sun Belt. Not everybody else. You know who dropped out? Marshall. Yeah. Who beat Marshall? Where were they? I forget. Was it James Madison? I forget. Anyway. Marshall's not in the hunt anymore. Troy is. Scott Cross, he's probably the most consistent coach in the Sun Belt is Scott Cross. Yeah, and he cuts a good figure, too. He's in good shape, and he wears that suit jacket that's a little short, tailored. It's Troy Red. He's running around. He's just a good coach. He's so good, you kind of wonder why he's still at Troy. Excuse me. Losing my voice because of you. But he has this group of guys. And they're playing over their heads. Connerway. A couple other guys. The Rigsby brothers. Miles Rigsby among them. They're good guys. Cross makes them great guys. Cross just knows what to do. And we barely beat them. We barely beat Scott Cross in Troy when we faced them in Troy. It was after that South Alabama game. We were a little down about that. Got to play Troy at Troy. Troy's tough at Troy. We beat them because Pinion got hot. That's why we beat Troy. Pinion got hot. If Pinion doesn't get hot, we don't win that game. Thank you, Joe Pinion. Put us back on track. We put 100 points on Southern Miss. Southern Miss isn't a bad team. Not a bad Sun Belt team. Do we do the same against Troy? I don't know. Troy's a different team. Troy has more depth. Troy play is more careful with the ball. They're not going to turn it over like Southern Miss. But Arkansas State plays better. They play different at home. It's not that they even play better. It's they play different. It's a different ball game. So join me at the Blackout. I plan to be there. I'll be covering the game. And maybe we'll see Frank the Tank out there. We love Frank the Tank. I watched a little bit of the women, by the way, in their win against Southern Miss. It didn't look good at first. I don't know if you were watching it. The women, poor women, they always start them like at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock, people coming back from work. I work at home. I can pop on ESPN Plus. Women missed 10 shots in a row, most of them 3-pointers. I think Southern Miss came out with like a 6-0, 8-0 lead as a result. Destiny Rogers, she puts together a sort of a rotation, 5 and then 5, right? She has 5 starters. She pulls them all out, puts 5 more in. And it's just back and forth. Yes, it's not something you see a lot. I saw, last time I saw that was with, of all teams, Rhodes. Yes, the Rhodes Lynx. The Rhodes Lynx. They used to do that. Maybe they still do that. 5 guys in, 5 guys out. That's what Destiny Rogers is doing with the women's team right now. 5 women in, 5 women out. Not a whole lot of drop off between the two squads, and they end up winning that game by more than 20. They missed their first 10, ended up winning that game by more than 20. When they get hot with the 3, the Red Wolves cannot be beat. And no, they're not even that bad beneath the rim. Yes, they'll miss some layups. Not like last year, though. Not like last year. This year, yeah, they're a lot better underneath the rim. But at the 3-point, that's where they do their magic. And they're fun to watch. Just a fun team to watch. A lot of good athletes on that team. Can they beat James Madison? I don't know. James Madison's pretty good, too. All right. Arkansas State plays baseball now. I mean, they've been playing baseball for years. Don't get me wrong. No, it's not like this is the first time I've noticed. But, yeah. Mike Silva, new head coach. A roster full of new guys. I think they play Morehead State. I think I'm right about that. You know why I'm not for sure? It's because I don't like... I'm too afraid to get fully vested in this team. Baseball has hurt me for decades. I'm tired of it. Yeah, last year I just kind of gave up. I said, all right, Arkansas baseball isn't going to try, then I'm not going to try. Is that weak? Yeah, a little bit. They're not lovable losers. Anyway, new coach, new attitude, some new unis. They're out there. They're going to play. Picked to finish last, right there behind ULM. And if you look at the Sun Belt landscape, man, there's a lot of good teams. You got Troy, you got Southern Miss, you got Coastal Carolina. They're always in there. The Cajuns are always in there. Georgia Southern, who was really good last year, they're kind of picked 5th, right? Guess they lost a lot of guys. And then, like, sort of the bottom half is intriguing, too. You got guys like South Alabama, Texas State Bobcats. Those are traditional powerhouses. They're relegated to the bottom. They're right there with us. Anyway, you know what I like to do? I kind of like listening to Arkansas State baseball on the radio. That's where I usually listen to it. Don't really watch it on TV. I'll listen to the audio broadcast. I'll probably do that this year. I'll probably pay more attention this year. Because I want the team to be good. I want us to be part of the college baseball community. Because it's fun. It's especially when it gets to around the end of the season, and people are jockeying for position, and maybe they get to go to the big NCAA tournament. Ooh. Yeah, I want to be a part of that. I want to feel that. Let's see if we can make that happen. You know what? I'm not putting any expectations on Mike Silva. Here's what I want you to do. You're a young man. You know kind of what it takes. to make a program run. You've worked with small programs before. Now you got a little bit of a bigger program with some potential. What can you do with this? Listen, we've given you a handful of materials. Do something with it, Mr. Silva. Can you do something with it? Because we haven't been able to do anything with it. But we'd like you to do something with it. My entire hopes and dreams are with Mike Silva.